Hey, oh Lord. Hey y'all. Sorry I'm late. This episode ran late and then Heather was on Watch What Happens Live, so I wanted to see a little bit of what Heather had to say. Cause baby, this episode was a lot. A lot. Okay. So y'all come on in. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Whew, child. Okay, so baby, we still on this boat. We are still on this boat. Um, Let me say something. Well, the ladies, okay, let me start. The ladies get up, they're having yoga. It's their last day on the ship. They're having on the boat, ship, yacht, child, whatever. They're having yoga. And while they're so it's Brittany, Angie, Heather, and Whitney are doing yoga. The rest, Lisa and Meredith are in their room. I don't know where the hell Browning was. But while they're upstairs having yoga, Lisa, Heather is like, Brittany, are you okay? Now I'm gonna say this, Chuck. I think it was you. It was either you or Xavier, and I don't remember who it was. It was either you or Xavier that said last week that you felt like the ladies were ganging up on Brittany or bullying Brittany. I think it might have been Xavier. And my response was, I didn't think they were, but I absolutely feel that way this week. And I'm not even going to say it was all of the ladies. What the hell? I'm sorry. I'm not even going to say it was all of the ladies. What I am going to say is I feel like it was a group of ladies that absolutely were picking on Brittany. Now, let's be clear. Brittany is not my favorite person at all. I think Brittany's an idiot. Especially how she has allowed a man to be more important in her relationship. Even the morning when they were doing the yoga, Brittany was getting on my nerves because Brittany was like, I just don't understand what the big deal is. I don't understand what the big deal is. I mean, one person said something. I said one thing about someone's marriage, and I just don't see what the big deal is. I just don't understand what the big deal is. And even then, I was like, come on, Brittany, you have to understand why that was a big deal. I mean, we saw Bronwyn act a fool when Lisa, when she found out about Lisa telling people about her husband. Like, wives and husbands have a right to be upset when their marriages are brought into the conversation, right? So I wasn't even like, even then I was like, come on, Brittany, like, girl, right? Now, fast forward, we're going to get to the rest of the episode. But even in the beginning, I was like, Brittany, come on. So the ladies are getting ready for breakfast. So, I mean, while they're doing yoga, Meredith and Lisa are talking, and Meredith is talking about Brittany is so stupid, and Brittany this, and Brittany. Bronwyn then kidnapped Brittany's unicorn, and basically her and Meredith hatch this caper to throw the unicorn overboard. Now, I'm gonna say this. First of all, Bronwyn, how many of them damn costumes did you pack in your luggage? Like, girl, that's number one. Number two, if they had hidden the unicorn somewhere on the ship, I might have thought it was funny. If they had, I'm gonna tell you, if they had strung up the unicorn like they were going to actually like pinata it, right? I might have thought that it was funny. Throwing the unicorn overboard, knowing it was going to ruin the unicorn because of the whole recording device situation, I don't find that to be funny. I don't. If somebody had decided to take something that belonged to me and destroy it, I wouldn't find it funny at all. And if anybody had done that to Brittany, I mean, if anybody had done that to Bronwyn's things, or if anybody had done that to Meredith's things, it wouldn't have been a joke. So I didn't find it funny. Again, if it had been something like I said, if they had hidden it, you know what I mean? I mean, hell, even if they had turned it into like a scavenger hunt, like left her, messages or something, I might be like, okay, that's funny. Okay, ha, ha, ha. But what they did was mean. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't meant to be funny. And the only reason why Bronwyn said it was a joke is because she felt the heat when she got confronted by it. When she realized that nobody else thought it was funny. First of all, y'all didn't expect them to rescue the goddamn thing. I mean, I don't know what was happening on production side of it that said, y'all, we got to get that damn unicorn out the water. Like, I'm not sure what conversation was being had on the other side, but y'all didn't expect that unicorn to come back up. Y'all really thought that it was gone. And even when Brittany said, I thought I had lost it, makes me feel like Brittany was looking for the unicorn. It makes me feel like the unicorn was visibly missing and Brittany was looking for it. She didn't just say, oh, she was looking for it. So there was, to me, and I mean, some people might say, oh, that's just, they didn't mean it to be a joke. They didn't mean it to be funny, in my opinion, at all. Okay. And it was mean. Again, do I think that Brittany is annoying? Yeah, she's annoying. Did I think that unicorn was stupid? Yeah, I thought it was stupid. But it absolutely did not rise to the occasion of what they did. That's my opinion. Because it was a hazard fish. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but I don't think they thought that through. I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't know what conversations were had with production. Maybe production told them to do it. They would film it and then they would fish it out. It still doesn't matter. Even if production said, oh, we'll get it. Don't worry about it. It was still a mean thing to do. Like I said, I would rather them have hidden it somewhere and then left her a note, like a ransom note or something. You know what I mean? That I would have thought was funny. Like, oh, they left a ransom note. They made her look for it. Okay, cool. But to destroy it, which is what y'all did. Y'all destroyed it. That's not funny. That's just not funny to me. All right. So moving right along. So we go to breakfast. And you know why I believe, even before we got to the rest of what it was, I absolutely believed that they said that Meredith did all the things that they said that Meredith did on that plane because of the way Meredith acted at breakfast. Did y'all see how Meredith was flinging her hair in that woman's face? And I'm not talking to you. I'm not speaking to you. And like ignoring her and turning her back on her and all that. Did y'all see all that shit at breakfast? Ma'am, methinks thy protest too much. Methinks thy protest too much, because it's not that fucking deep if it ain't true. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, a wife or a husband have every right to feel a way when their marriage is used as a storyline. They have every right to feel a way about that. All the housewives have had to deal with it on some level. I'm not saying that makes it okay, but honestly, it is par for the course. All of the housewives have had to deal with it, right? However, Meredith, for a fucking TikTok, girl, it was just a TikTok of somebody saying that they saw your husband with another woman. It's not that deep. Unless you think it's true. Unless you think it's true. When she flung her hair in Brittany's face, I said, see, you doing too much. Because let me tell you how to whoop your ass. And I'm going to just go on and call a thing a thing. I'm not real big on the violence of it all. But let me tell you how to whoop. First of all, I'm eating my fucking breakfast. That's number one. Don't be flinging your hair over top of my food. That's number one. Number two, your hair made contact with my mouth. Your hair made contact with my mouth. Moving right along. So the ladies are leaving to take their asses home. Bronwyn has a different flight because remember, Bronwyn flew out separately. So Bronwyn flew back separately. So the rest of the ladies are getting on their plane. Now, again, I know I already talked about this, but after they get off, that's when the lady gives Brittany the unicorn. And like I said, when nobody else thought it was funny, then all of a sudden it became a joke, but it wasn't a joke. Something else I was going to say before we get off the boat. I don't remember now. Oh, when they gave the tip, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Below Deck. I've only watched a few episodes, although it's actually pretty. It's an okay show. I've never really got into it like as a series, watching it regularly. But that's one thing they always make a big deal about is that them getting the tip at the end of the voyage, and then breaking up the tip, and you know the people going out and all that kind of stuff. Because y'all know people live off of these tips, and when you do this high end concierge service, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And Meredith, Lord, I can't get the names right. Heather said on Watch What Happens Live that was absolutely real. That was not production, that they absolutely did take up a tip. And she said that it was real. It came from the women. And she was funny because she said, and where they fell short, I made up the difference. So it sounds like everybody didn't give what Heather felt like it was equal to for what they did, what they put them people through. So shout out to Heather. I think that's an important part of them showing and including, because I think a lot of times we forget, myself included. I have been guilty, and I had to stop myself from doing that. When I go on cruises, I used to do my own gratuity. And then somebody had to remind me and say, the gratuity goes to everybody, even the people you don't see. Like when the cruise ship charged you, when they put the gratuity on, that money goes to everybody, even the people that you don't necessarily see. And see, I used to just tip the people in my room, and I would tip the people at dinner, like my head waiter and my waitress at dinner, and then the person who took care of my room, or the two people that took care of my room. And when they brought that up, I said, you know what? That's valid. Like that's valid. That it covers everybody, even the people you don't see on the ship, because everybody deserves to get. I mean, they work hard on those cruises. So now, I do the gratuity a little differently. But anyway, I think it's important to see, to understand. You know what I mean? So we get on this plane, and of course, I know they don't record on the plane. Usually people only record, like they do like personal recordings or whatever, but that's about it. Now I'm gonna say this, and this is me breaking the fourth wall a little bit. I saw somebody in the chat say, didn't Meredith get in trouble for this, and she was suspended for a week or something along those lines? I do remember Meredith getting in trouble for something, but I feel like probably by the time we found out about it, they weren't filming anymore, because I remember saying they're done filming. But maybe this happened. Maybe the punishment happened before they got done filming. So we have to kind of be on the lookout to see if we see Meredith disappear for a couple of episodes. I don't know. But let me say this. The one thing I will say so they showed us text messages of where the ladies were talking to each other, right? I will say this. And so one thing Bronwyn said was, if Meredith was acting up like that, why didn't anybody get any footage of it? Why didn't anybody get anything. But then when I was watching Heather on Watch What Happens Live, it sort of makes a little bit of sense. Heather said that basically all of First Class was them. She said 9/10 of First Class was us, production and the Housewives. That would make sense why even if somebody has cell phone footage, they're not going to show us the cell phone footage. We might get it at the reunion. But if somebody did, because I find it interesting that none of the women, they sent text messages, but nobody made a video of it. I don't believe it. I do believe that video footage exists. I do believe that video footage exists. I mean, if nobody else, Brittany, girl, we know you know how to record. Hell, you was recording them last year on the damn bus. We know you know how to record. So I do not believe that there is no footage. What I do believe is that Bravo has all of the footage. That's what I believe. And again, are we going to see any of them at the reunion? Maybe, maybe not. Did they take the footage to do an investigation? Did they take the footage to protect Meredith? Maybe. I don't know. But I do believe that there's footage. I just don't believe there isn't, especially after Heather said that the majority of First Class was them. As far as the airline stewardesses not having footage, listen, that's their job. If they record footage, especially in First Class, there's a certain expectation, when you're a First Class attendant. Because do you know how many celebrities come through First Class? Do you know how many, businessmen? Like when I was when we went to Louisville, Mitch McConnell was I was in First Class, but Mitch McConnell was up in First Class, and they can't just be taking selfies. I'm sure that there have been times when people have asked. I'm not saying it's never happened, but there's an expectation, and so I do not think that they probably talked about it. Oh, they talked about it. But they probably don't. Or if they did, they are not going to sell it to the blogs unless they think that they can get away with selling it to the blogs. Y'all know what I'm saying? So I agree. Now, I 100%. Yeah, Mitch McConnell did. Yeah, child. He looked bad. I ain't going to say. He looked worse in person. He really looked bad. He couldn't hardly hear nothing. The lady had to keep asking him. She asked him if he wanted coffee 20 times. He was like, huh? He's got a hearing aid. He was in a wheelchair. A child. He looked bad. Anyway, I'm with you, Tiffany. If I never see a video, I believe it. I 100. And if I didn't believe it before, by the end of the episode, I 100% believed it. So the ladies get back. I'm gonna get deeper into all that happened as we go through. So Lisa, and this is the shit that I'm talking about. Lisa, you told a bold-faced lie to your husband. Your husband picked you up from the airport, and you're telling your husband about what happened and how horrible it was on the plane, how horrible Meredith was to Brittany on the plane. And your husband asked you point blank, well, did you say anything to Brittany? And she was like, no, I would never do that. Girl, you admitted when you were talking to Heather that you said something to Brittany. You absolutely said something to Brittany. And you damn sure didn't help Brittany or try to help defend Brittany. Absolutely not. But again, we're going to get to Miss Lisa in a minute. Mary goes to lunch with Bronwyn because remember, Bronwyn wasn't on the flight. And Mary's basically telling Bronwyn how bad it was. And Bronwyn was like, what? And that's when Bronwyn was like, I mean, there's no air marshal. There's no like, I don't believe it. There's no footage. But I'm going to be honest. Now, that's the other thing that Heather said on Watch What Happens Live as well. She said, that's when she was talking about how the majority of First Class was them. And she said, Meredith's behavior wasn't air marshal worthy, she said, but she also feels like celebrity played a part. She was like, had that been a random woman in first class and another, it might have been a different outcome. But the fact that the majority of all of first class was Bravo production and Real Housewives, she said she absolutely believes that played a major part in why nothing more serious happened to Meredith. And I can believe that too. We know that celebrity has privilege. Like we may not like that celebrity has privilege, but celebrity absolutely has privilege. Celebrity absolutely has privilege. So I can believe that, especially when Lisa said, listen, the majority of first class was us. I can believe that. Heather goes to lunch with Brittany. What they said was by the end of that flight, Brittany literally was hysterical. And when you heard Heather go further into detail about how they had to literally take Brittany into the bathroom and help her get herself together before she got, before they left out of the airport, and how hysterical she was and how she was just in tears. And so basically what they said happened on the plane was that Meredith and Lisa were sitting behind Brittany and they basically tortured her the whole flight home. Remember, they had a layover. They had a long flight and then they had a shorter flight, like a layover flight. So this happened on the long flight. I forgot how many hours, but it was at least a 6 or 7 hour flight. Oh, thank you, Lexi. Hey, boo. And so Heather is talking to Brittany. Now, let me be honest. Heather, baby, I've been giving you a lot. And I still stand in how I feel about how you move. Okay. I stand in how I feel. However, I'm going to say that I am appreciating how you moved in this episode. I appreciate how you moved in this episode. You and Mary Cosby. I appreciate how you moved in this episode. Heather is talking to Brittany, and Heather is like, first of all, are you okay? The fact that she checked on Brittany, I know we're filming a show, y'all, but the fact that she checked on Brittany, I appreciate it, right? She was like, are you okay? She's like, tell me what happened. And by Heather's own admission, she said, listen, I slept through most of the flight, but when I woke up and I saw what was happening, I did say something to Meredith, and then me and Meredith got into it. Meredith kind of came at me. I believe that too. I believe that anybody that tried to check Meredith and tell Meredith that she was wrong or doing too much, I believe she absolutely unleashed on them. Believe it 100%. And I believe Heather, when she said it, see, here's the thing about this whole situation with the plane. Everybody's not lying on you, Meredith. Everybody's not lying on you, Lisa. They have text messages where those women are talking to each other on the plane like, what the F? You have Heather talking to Brittany. You have Meredith talking to Meredith. Mary talking to Meredith. You have Lisa talking to Heather. And between all of those conversations, they all have this. Well, everybody except for Meredith and Lisa have the same version of events. They all have the same recollection. I didn't see anybody talking to Angie. We're going to get to you, Miss Angie. Oh, I got something for you, Miss Angie. Let me put her over there to the side. We're going to get to her in a minute. Now, do I think that Brittany was hurt more from Lisa because she said, girl, I was out here riding for you. I was out here defending you. Going back to the first episode, I had your back. When them women was out there talking about your lawsuits, girl, I was the one out here defending you. I had your back. Now, we told you then you was a fool to do it, but you did do it. Y'all remember, we talked about her being a dummy to do it. Baby Ricky Lake did say she don't know if it's pills or something, baby Ricky. I don't think Ricky Lake cared for Lisa too much, child. But anyway. And so Brittany was like that. She was more hurt by that than anything else because she really felt like her and Lisa, were friends, right? The next scene, and we're gonna get to the next scene is Angie and her daughter. Angie. Actually, no. The next scene is Bronwyn and Whitney, actually. And what we find out is that Todd then got caught on the plane looking at lingerie of other women. Now let me say something. And I'm glad that Bronwyn said, I don't know if these are women that he's dating or just random pictures. But either way, like she said, I wouldn't even be so mad if he would talk to me about, like, if this was something we had talked about. Here's what I love about this conversation. And everybody may not agree with me, and that's fine. I love this conversation from the point of view of, y'all know I have told y'all, that, and especially the older I get, I think that marriage is what works for you and your partner. Marriage is what works for you and your partner. I agree a lot with what Whitney said when she was saying, listen, it's about communication. Like, he's old. My husband is older. We've been married for 15 years. We've been together for 17 years. There have been times when we thought we weren't going to make it. We thought we were over. He did his thing. I did my thing. She said, but what brought us back together is that we talked about it, we communicated, and we figured out what works for us. She said, because I don't want to be married to anybody else. He's my guy. That does not mean that I'm not going to have urges. I'm not going to have scratches that he can't itch or itches that he can't scratch, whatever, child. And basically, Bronwyn is saying the same thing. Like, listen, if Todd said to me, hey, girl, I'm going out here to New York. And while I'm in New York, I might meet a few people. I might do a few things. She said that she thinks that she would really be open to that. I think we have to get away from what would work for us and what wouldn't work for us. I told y'all, I have friends who are in alternative lifestyles. And listen, they've been married longer than some of my other friends who were in traditional marriages. What works for you is what works for you. And I think that and when I say we, I mean, as a society, have to get away from what we think a definition of marriage should be for everybody. I ain't got no heaven or hell to put nobody in. I can't tell you that this is right and this is wrong. And I agree. Looking at naked pictures really, to me, ain't cheating. Like, I don't give a fuck. Unless they're naked pictures of a woman you're having an affair with. Now, that's a different conversation. But if you're just sitting on a plane looking at porn, I don't know, a plane is the best place to be looking at it, but if that's what you want to do, you in first class, all I can say, Todd, get a privacy screen, sir. Get you a privacy screen on your phone, and then you can look at whatever you want to look at and won't nobody be in your business. But what I can appreciate Bronwyn was saying was, I'm not even mad that he was doing it. I'm just mad that somebody could spray me with your tea. Don't put me in a position to be surprised. She said, I would love to have, when Lisa said, well, they said that your husband was on the plane with another woman, I would love to have been able to say, yeah, I picked her out. See, I'm with Bronwyn. That ain't the kind of marriage I want, but I understand where Bronwyn is coming from to say, listen, don't put me in a position to be embarrassed. I don't want no woman to be able to come to me and spray me with your tea. And I love this conversation. I just did. Again, I'm not saying that anybody has to necessarily agree with it, but I love the conversation and I love that they were honest about it. I really do. And yes, they knew they were on camera. Yes, they knew it was going to get out. Like, we know that. But I love it. I really did. I appreciated this conversation. I did. And I think that's probably one of the most honest conversations that Whitney has had about her marriage, right? I agree. Grown people should dictate the marriage of the terms of their marriage, as long as when they add some outsiders to the mix, they're also consenting adults. Yes, absolutely. And like I said, I have friends who are in alternative lifestyles, and like Whitney said, you have to lay down the rules. And here's the thing. And it's because I've heard people say before, how can you be cheating if you have an open marriage? Because there are rules, and if you break those rules, now you're cheating because you broke the rules. For example, I had friends who they were swingers. They were a married couple and they were swingers. She was bisexual, and their rule was when they went to parties, when they participated in swing parties, that they could only perform oral on other people or receive oral on other people. There could be no penetration unless they agreed to it. So they could have a threesome, but you can't go off by yourself with somebody else and do anything. You could do oral, you could perform, you could receive, but you can't have no penetration unless I'm in the room. Those were their rules. It worked for them until one day something happened, and then there was the cheating accusation. And that was the argument was, but you knew the rule and you broke the rule. See what I'm saying? So it's all about what you all agree to in y'all's relationship. I liked it. Anyway, the final straw for Carmela was Tony was when his girlfriend called the house and spoke to the kids. She knew he was cheating, but that was a lie. And that's what, exactly. Some women, they know their husband's cheating. The line is you spending money. The line is having a baby. Like, everybody has a line. Child, I ain't watched The Sopranos. I might have to go back and rewatch The Sopranos. I watched it in real time. I might have to go back and rewatch The Sopranos. It was a good show. Baby, I remember when Carmela started stealing money, and she opened up that bank account, and she would deposit $9,990 because she know anything under $10,000 had to be reported. Baby, she would just make deposits of $9,990. Baby, and she was stealing that money from Tony. And then Tony had a nerve to get mad when he found out. She was like, I'm sorry, what? Baby. Anyway. Then we have this scene with Angie and her daughter. Now, Quake said they just threw that scene in there. I don't think they just threw that scene in there because, remember, they're going to Greece. So I feel like the whole Greek thing is Angie's storyline to lead up to her taking them to Greece. But let me say this. Angela, come here. First of all, Electra is a teenager. She don't care about nothing. That's number one. You have introduced her to the culture. That's all you can do. You made her go to Greek school. You made her do this. You made her do that. She knows her history. She knows where she comes from. She knows who her grandparents are and their struggle, their immigration story. She's got it. But she is a teenager. She doesn't care. And she's not going to care until she decides to care. She may never care. She may get in her 20s and she may care a lot. You going in there making up this bullshit story about her representing Greece in the Olympics. First of all, Angie, you sound stupid. Again, I don't know what the rules are. I know people represent other countries in the Olympics all the time. There is a certain criteria. I really don't know what it is. I didn't do the research. I don't know. But I know that there are people who represent other countries. I know they do it all the time. So I'm not saying that she can't do it. That ain't why I'm saying it's stupid. I'm saying it's stupid is because it was random. She is packing for a trip, and you done came in there and started talking about her doing equestrian in the Olympics for Greece. Baby, Electra was like, why would I do that? Angie, listen. I don't want no politically correct people dropping down in here trying to correct me on what I'm about to say, because I don't care. Baby, she's not Greek. Electra is not Greek. Her grandparents immigrated from Greece. Her mama was born here. Her daddy was born here. She's American. Now, is she of Greek heritage? A part of her is 50%. And then she went on to say, well, listen, my dad and my granddad are trainers. They're the ones that got me into equestrian. They're the ones that had me doing the, why would I represent Greece when they're the ones that brought me into this world of equestrian? Her mother's not Greek. Her mother's American. Her mother was born here. Her mother, Angie, because that's what she said. She wanted to get her dual citizenship. Angie is not a citizen of Greece. She's a citizen of the United States of America. She doesn't have any, her parents are from Greece. And again, like I said, I didn't do the research, so I don't know what the criteria is. She technically maybe can, but why would she? You see what I'm saying? Why would you think she wanted to represent Greece? Why? When the whole reason why she's even in equestrian comes from her daddy's side. You don't even know. She said, well, I don't know why me not knowing anything about horses. Quake said her mother is so she can compete for Greece. Whose mother? Angie's not Greek. I mean, she's Greek heritage, but she was born in America. Anyway, like I said, I don't know the research. I don't know. Okay, hold on. She could with her grandparents' heritage. She could want to because she has a greater chance to be on the world team. Got it, Quake. And if Angie had said that, I probably would be okay with Angie saying that. Because I know that's why other people do it in other countries. I know that's why other people go out and, compete. Like, especially like basketball players, they know they ain't going to make the, Team USA, the Olympic team. So they go back to their home country. But those are people who are from those countries. And I know that there are people who do it. Anyway, like I said, I know that there's probably the possibility. But why would she? But this is where Angie lost me. Angie, come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Come here, baby. Angie, I want you to stop telling people that the Greek people started civilization. Don't repeat that no more. Don't say that again. She said we started civilization. Don't do that. Don't do that again. Now, when we start talking about ancient civilizations, is Mesopotamia part of that? Yes, it is. Girl, but y'all didn't start nothing. Y'all didn't. Who told you that? And after that, I stopped listening to Angie. So I don't know. Moving right along. So then we get to this last scene. Right. The continent of Africa, the oldest fossil ever found, came from Ethiopia. They call her Lucy. Until they found a fossil in Santorini, Mesopotamia. That's when I went. Until then, y'all didn't create shit. Moving right along. Moving right along. So then we have this conversation with Heather and with Lisa. Heather, listen, this is the Heather that I love. This is the Heather that I fucks with. This is the Heather I want to see more often. First of all, Lisa left Heather waiting for her for an hour. That's a power move. We've seen other housewives do it. It was a power move. You absolutely left Heather waiting on purpose because you still mad at Heather about what she did on that damn ship to you. You're still upset with Heather. Okay. Put a pin in that. Remind me to go back to that. You know that when y'all are filming and y'all are supposed to be filming these scenes, you know they can't leave till you get there. You know they gotta wait. So that was absolutely a power move to make Lisa wait on you. Now, let me rewind the clock. On Watch What Happens Live, y'all know I normally don't include a lot of Watch What Happens Live, but I really wanted to hear what Heather had to say. On Watch What Happens Live, what Heather said about Andy asked Heather about confronting Lisa about putting information out there. And he was like, well, do you have receipts? Do you have proof? Heather says she absolutely has receipts, timeline. You know, she recited her little line. She says she absolutely does. And so I want to say either Ricky Lake or Andy asked her about them. And she said, well, that's not important. What's important is that we've evolved and we understand that we don't need to put each other down. And we don't need to do that to each other anymore. And then I think Ricky Lake said, well, have y'all evolved? Have y'all moved on? And she said, I'll know after the reunion. Yeah, she says she absolutely has the receipts. So there's that. And I told you guys, the way that Heather was so adamant made me feel like you have to have something. Because she was just like, just own it. Just own it. Like she really knew. And again, why she didn't put it out there, I guess because she really does have feelings for Lisa, right? So she proceeds. Yeah, that was part of the reason why the Married to Medicine used to get so pissed off at Quad. Because Quad used to leave them waiting like that. So Heather is trying to confront Lisa about what happened on the plane with Meredith. Lisa wants to take absolutely no fucking accountability. This is why I don't fuck with Lisa. This is why I have never liked Lisa. Because even in the midst of somebody having her dead to rights, she will not admit to anything. She will take no responsibility for anything, and she will just straight up lie if all else fails. And the way that she sat there and act like she didn't do anything, and the more and more she talked, the more and more she let it be known. When she said, I mean, I just said to Brittany, just show her the damn TikTok. Show her the damn TikTok. You did exactly what they said you did. You did exactly what they said you did. And you were absolutely culpable. And that is disgusting. That is beyond mean girl behavior. That's bullying. And that is beyond mean girl behavior, what you did, what y'all did to Brittany. And the fact that you're justifying it, the fact that you're acting like you didn't do anything wrong, the fact that, and even when Heather was saying, well, this is how Brittany feels, you can't even acknowledge Brittany's feelings. Again, her feelings are her feelings. They are valid to her. You can't even acknowledge that she's saying, this is how y'all made me feel. You can't even acknowledge that. We think the same way. I could never get why people like Lisa. They aren't ganging up on her this season. She has been messing with everybody for seasons. I agree 100%. And I mean, even going back to that first season when she lied on Heather. Heather said, you spread these rumors about me. And she tried to lie. And then she admitted that, because once she tried to say she didn't even know who Heather was. Then she had to admit, well, I did know who you were, but I mean, I don't know what you were doing. I don't know who you were dating. I don't know what, And Lisa was like, girl, see, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think Lisa is a disgusting person because she has shown she is an elitist in the worst sense of the word. Because she's an unapologetic elitist. Like some people are elitists and they acknowledge it like, well, but she is an unapologetic elitist. And like, even when she was telling Heather earlier this season, well, I just live a very different life from the rest of you girls. Bitch, what? I'm sorry. Excuse me? She even said Brittany wasn't a victim and needed to take accountability for how they treated her on that plane. Right. She turned it into Brittany did something. And again, I don't think that how they're treating Brittany fits what Brittany did. I mean, Brittany bringing up Meredith's husband, that wasn't cool, right? I'm gonna be honest, that wasn't cool. But at the end of the day, girl, it ain't that deep either. It ain't that deep either. Because if it's not true, who gives a fuck? And even if it is true, I mean, I don't mean no harm, but worse has been said. First of all, Lisa had the nerve to say, I think that was disgusting for Brittany to attack Meredith's marriage. I mean, enough is enough already. Why people are going to keep coming after Meredith's husband? Bitch, you were the first people. You were the first one that came after their marriage. When they caught you on that hot mic, you were the first person that came after their marriage. What are you talking about? You called Meredith all kinds of sluts. Said she was sleeping with people all over New York. Seth don't even like her. Meredith is still mad at Brittany for telling everyone about Meredith throwing up last year after eating. Ooh. Right. That's what I'm saying. Give me shoulder. So for you to sit there and act like what Brittany did was so horrible when you said worse. You said worse. The only difference is you said it behind Meredith's back and didn't know you were getting you didn't know you had gotten caught on a hot mic. That's the only difference. At least Brittany did say it to y'all's face. Again, I'm not saying that Brittany was cool for bringing it up, but at least she said it to everybody in front of everybody for a moment. You meant what you said. You know how we know you meant what you said? Because your ass didn't even know you was on camera saying it. You was mad for real, for real. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And so, what I love though, because Heather did this and Mary did this, what I love is you didn't let her off the hook, Heather. You did not. You were like, I was there. I saw it. I was there. Yes, I know what happened. Yes, I saw this. Yes, yes, I did say something and Meredith yelled at me. Like, I love how Heather did not give up. Heather did not give 1 inch when it came to Lisa. And then Heather said, you can go. Like, I'm done with this shit. You can go. Baby, Lisa really got mad then. Baby, when Heather dismissed her and was like, you can go. Get the fuck out of here. Baby, when Heather told her, get the fuck out of here, I said, I know that's right, Heather. You better tell her. You better tell her, Heather. Then we turn around and we have pretty much the same conversation between Meredith and Mary. Baby, I was so here for Mary. I was so here for Mary because once again, here go Meredith trying to gaslight somebody, and she looking Mary dead in her face and was like, "I didn't do that." Mary was like, "Girl, you did." She was like, "That's that." She said, "I was just upset and I was venting to a friend. I mean, it might have lasted 15 minutes." Meredith was like, you want to think that again? Because it was longer than 15 minutes. It couldn't have been longer than 15 minutes because I slept and I watched 2 movies and it's only but so much time on the plane. Baby, Mary was like, but it was longer than 15 minutes. She was like, you were asleep. She said, yeah, but every time I woke up, you was still talking about it. She said, well, what about you? No, this was Heather when she said something about her splashing the wine on Brittany. Baby, this how you know when people are lying. She said, well, when Meredith got up to go to the bathroom, she pulled on the seat and she said, the wine spilled on me. Let me explain something. I'm a big girl. I'm a big girl. Part of the reason why I like sitting in first class is because I like the space. And I don't have to climb over people to go to the bathroom and all that shit. I like the space. Let me explain something to you. As big as I am, when I get up, sometimes I need to leverage, right? I might need to maneuver left and leverage the seat. I have never in my life pulled on the seat in front of me hard enough to knock over somebody's drink. Do you understand how hard you have to pull on a seat to knock over somebody's drink? Stop playing in my face. Stop playing in my face. You did exactly what they said you did. You shook that girl's seat. And Meredith, as small as she is, had she don't have to touch that seat to get up to go to the bathroom. She doesn't have to touch that seat to get up and go to the bathroom. They did exactly what she said. Well, she had her headphones on. I don't even know how she heard me. Meredith, at least Mary was like, girl, I heard you. She's like, you couldn't have heard me. You were on the other side of the plane. And then they showed the seating chart where she was just in the next aisle over, one row back. Baby, she wasn't in the back of the plane. She wasn't in the back of the plane. And then I love how Mary turned it around her. Mary was like, well, if I was so far away, how did I hear you? She said, you're right. I shouldn't have been able to hear you. If I was that far away, I shouldn't have been able to hear you. Yet I did. I heard you. Baby, the way Meredith was looking at Mary's straight face and was like gaslighting her ass, you didn't see what you thought you saw. Like, she was really trying to pull that Jedi mind trick on Mary. But I love how Mary stood 10 toes down in it. And Mary was like, yeah, no, girl. I was there. I saw it. I heard it. I'm not stupid. I know what happened. And you ain't going to sit here and convince me differently. And like you said, somebody in the chat said, and Mary don't even like Brittany like that. Mary don't even like Brittany like that. You said Brittany needs to take accountability. She's clearly in the wrong. Meredith Marks is a married woman. I mean, I disagree, Andre. You can feel how you feel. I don't think that in this instance, the punishment is fitting the crime. I don't think that what they did to Brittany, what I believe happened on that plane, I don't think it fits what Brittany did. Lisa brought up Bronwyn's marriage, and I didn't see them doing to Lisa what allegedly happened on that plane. So, you know, you can feel like Brittany was wrong. In this instance, I don't believe Brittany was wrong. Not on this level. I mean, should Brittany have brought up the video? I mean, she definitely did it out of spite. She definitely did it because she was trying to get back at Meredith. But I think Meredith's behavior is ridiculous. I think how she's choosing to handle it is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Exactly, Cheap 38. They physically assaulted and harassed Brittany for hours in an enclosed space. That was unacceptable. Agreed. 100% agreed. But baby, that was pretty much the episode. That was a good episode, honey. I didn't like what happened with Brittany, but I love how Heather held Lisa accountable. I love how Mary is holding Meredith accountable. It'll be interesting to see the second half of the season and see how things go down. But baby, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And then wait a minute, hold on, let me rewind. And then Meredith tried to throw Whitney in it. Was it Meredith or was it Lisa? One of them tried to throw Whitney in it, and I'm like, well, what the fuck did Whitney have to do with it? Well, Meredith tried to throw Whitney in it back on the ship and make it seem like Whitney should have defended her. Whitney was like, girl, it was just a TikTok. Like, I told her to tell you about the TikTok. Like, I told her either you tell her or I'm gonna tell her, but it's not that deep. And then I feel like it was either Lisa or Whitney, I can't remember, tried to throw Whitney in it again when they were at the end of the episode. And I'm like, Whitney don't have shit to do. Whitney ain't got nothing to do with this. Now listen, y'all know I ain't the biggest Whitney fan. And baby, if it's a way to blame Whitney for something, I'm gonna find it. But on this one, baby, Whitney ain't had nothing to do with this. Whitney didn't have nothing to do with this. Anyway, that was the episode, you guys. Let me know what y'all think. Put it in the comments. I will talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace.